How you doing today, folks? So today I have a review for you of the Chaves 229. This one is obviously a group knife, which is the Chaves knife group 2019. It has this very kind of textile, if you can hear that, laser engraving. Very nice. This is more of a review of the 229 in general. If you're interested in this, you can still find them on secondary market. Be warned though, they hold their value very well. So if you find one, chances are you're going to pay full retail for it or full price for it, which is $400. Even if it's been used, they're just not very many of them out there, so they just tend to go for that. So I've had this knife for a couple of months now. I've carried it quite a bit. So basically my whole EDC rotation switches up considerably. This one has been a solid probably 3 days a week for that entire time. It has been used, very lightly abused, though you cannot tell. That's a little bit of a distortion. You can tell on that, I guess. Though you can't tell because this is a hand rubbed satin finish. So if this gets scratched or smudged and you have any idea or any knowledge of knives and how to go about fixing them or sharpening them or rubbing them out, this can be fixed. So I have put little bits of damage on this blade and then maybe about 20 minutes of work and it's back to being absolutely incredible. Usually I like my knives to show wear, but for whatever reason, I love the way this one looks as is and I'm kind of trying to keep it there. But again, I'm absolutely still going to be using it. So I'm not too big on the whole specs thing. I will talk about, this is about a 3.5-inch blade, M390 steel. It has a finger choil that I actually don't know anybody who this will actually fit. So I'm more gonna call it a sharpening choil. If I press in really hard and just kind of use this finger, nope, never mind. I just got myself. All right, enough of that. Gonna say maybe you can get it in, but nope. What the fuck? There we go. That was not the knife, folks. That's me being an idiot and missing the goddamn thumb stud. Anyways, it has absolutely phenomenal action. You can flick it out, zero wrist at all. Spidey flick when you don't miss the damn thumb stud. It also, if you were into this whole thing like Sebenzas and everything else, you can roll it out very nicely. It's not really my thing, but if you're looking for that, you can by all means do it. There's also a thing called Chaves thumb because people will just keep on flicking, disengaging, dropping, flicking, disengaging, dropping, and you'll beat up your thumb. And it's very much a thing. As you can see, just that little bit, I already got some scrapes on my thumb. That's primarily because this is slightly sharp, not too bad. And then when you access the cutout, it drops in such a way to where it hits your thumb right there every time. It's not a bad thing. It's not really anything, honestly. I want everybody to be aware of it. Now, the thing about Chaves knives that polarize people, honestly, is the skull clip. A lot of people don't like this. I will say one thing. I hated this at first. I kept wanting to find people that made just a regular clip for the Chaves, and I had this thing where I was going to make a Mokutai Chaves clip because I'm going to be ridiculous. Might as well be super ridiculous. But this has actually really grown on me quite a lot. It's actually not as loud as you would think it is. I've seen some people customize it with laser engravings and embellishes and this turns into a gigantic tongue and it looks absolutely crazy. So this as is isn't really all that bad. The lines are absolutely fantastic. So one thing I'm going to say about this knife right now is that I had a custom Chaves 228. I actually had 3 of them. Once I got this, I sold those all immediately. This is about a $400 knife if you get them new. Or again, someone sells it high for a secondary market because they will absolutely get it for that price. But sometimes you can find it for less. Anyways, I sold those knives because the action is just a little bit better than those. and the fit and finish is pretty much identical. There's small things that only you'll ever get with a custom where there's just a little more finishing, a little more chamfering, a little more rounding of the edges. So the customs are still better, but it's a very negligible difference. So I went and sold those knives. Now, as everybody knows, I have big hands, so this knife is a little cramped for me. I almost always have part of the pinky sticking off, but it's not a huge deal. Again, if I can hold this piece right here, again, not use it as a choil, but kind of rest my thumb right here, or pointer finger right here, thumb up here, and it's very comfortable. This knife does have hot spots. There's actually quite a few hot spots on this knife, but they're all pretty like minimal in terms of how hot they actually are. Now, for me, I have a hot spot right here. I have a hot spot right here. I have a hot spot right here when I rest my finger there. I have 2 hot spots on each side right here. The clip on this corner piece right here, as well as the lock bar. Where is it at? Yeah, right here. When you actually have it open, that's kind of sharp. But I want to make this very clear. They're not large hot spots. You know, they're minor irritations that, again, you'll only ever really feel if you really squeeze the knife. Now, again, most people, their EDC is light cutting task and everything else. Especially most people, or not most people, fair amount of folks won't really hard use a knife like this, and that's fine. It's a beautiful knife. So they won't ever really experience that whole thing where they have to really bear down on it and then experience those hot spots. If you hold it very casually, honestly, there's nothing. No, there's no issues at all. Oh, never mind. That's an issue for me. I also have bigger hands, so this sits right about here on my palm. So that's an issue. Even when you go low and you start moving it, it stabs. This corner stabs in your palm. Again, it's not too bad. We also have M390 steel, which is pretty much everyone's favorite steel for the most part. Not the biggest fan of it, but I do definitely appreciate it for what it is. It has phenomenal edge retention, decent corrosion resistance. You know, it's a very good all-around steel. Most of the steels with like higher edge retention, they are kind of brittle. So you can snap them pretty easily. You can chip them pretty easy. It's much easier to sharpen out a roll than it is a chip. So M390 normally doesn't chip all that much. It does happen, to be clear, when it does happen, it absolutely sucks. But it's not that common compared to something like S110V, for example. So M390 is good to go. You can either get the hand rubbed or the machined satin finish, Tonto or drop point. They all have this very nice swedge and kind of like compound grind to it. It's very, very nice. They have this kind of narrowed and chamfered spine, which is probably more for piercing, but this is kind of a hot spot. So if for whatever reason you are holding your knife, you know, like this, most folks won't ever do that. Again, I hard use my knives. I've literally put a nail in with this, just taking it and hitting it. That's really uncomfortable. So if you're looking to use a knife as a hammer, might be a problem for you. Again, most folks don't use their knife the way I do. I'm a fucking idiot. So as far as some size comparisons, I have a lot of things on the table right now, so I'm going to go ahead and just pick out 3 random ones, as well as the usual staples. So we have the Sebenza 21. Very similar, as you can see, in terms of the overall length of the 21. It's much heavier than the 21, and it's much fatter. It has pretty wide little gaps, nice big chunks of titanium. Let's see. Got this right here, TRM Atom. Bigger than the Atom in terms of length, also much thicker. This is still my EDC. No one's probably, everybody knows me, not surprised by that though. This is currently in my pocket. So much smaller, quite a bit for the Medford 187 DP. And we're going to go ahead and do one more of the kind of random higher end comparisons. This is the Custom Knife Factory Sukel. Probably saying that wrong. Pretty comparable. This is a little bit longer and a little bit thinner. In terms of the width, though, they're pretty much identical. This is a surprisingly fat knife. Now, as far as the staples, we have a Benchmade full-size Griptilian. Definitely bigger than the Griptilian, though not all that much. We also have the Spyderco PM2. A little bit bigger than the PM2. Again, not much at all. And throw out the Mannix. We also have the Spyderco Mannix 2. Again, definitely bigger than the Mannix 2, though not by all that much. So it's definitely a full-size knife in terms of the general EDC community. If you're like me and are used to like Medfords and Curtis's and Crusader Forges and DSKs and everything else, it's not going to be really a big knife at all for you. But if you are a part of that more EDC community, then it might be an issue. But definitely a full-size knife. It does carry very nicely. The retention on this pocket clip is fantastic. This knife just does not move at all in my pocket, which is awesome. Strangely enough, when I first got it, it slid around a lot, and then over time, it just started to just lock in. It just, I don't know how that happens, but whatever. Somehow it got tighter over time. Now, as far as complaints with this knife, again, minimal hot spots. That's sharp as hell. I'm pretty sure if you press down hard enough, you might actually cut yourself. Like, I mean, just in general use, as far as in your pocket and everything else, I don't see it being an issue. You know, let's just try it right now. So, did not cut me. Pretty heavy indent. Obviously, my hand is stupidly red. But again, for most folks, probably fucking maybe 95% of people, this will not ever be an issue. So let's not even consider that as a detractor. It is a little sharp in the pocket, though. If you happen to be wearing this and something bumps into you, or you're trying to like fit in a small space, or you're on your side, for example. I work a bunch of different jobs. One of those frequently has me in a pretty tight spaces, kind of wiggling on my side to get to like an outlet or something I have to fix. That hurts. It actually hurts enough to where if that happens, I'll actually take this knife out of my pocket and put it in my back pocket, and then I just slide. So that should be an issue. That should definitely be noted. Man, that really hurt my hand. Look how deep that is. Again, not cuts, but there's some heavy indentations. Also, this is me being stupid, to be clear. You should never have to hold your knife that hard, especially while closed. But there are problems with this knife. They're very minimal. The only real issue to me is why make a finger choil that small? You know, my wife has really small hands, and this is still too small for her. So as far as, you know, an adult male's hands or whatever, that's just not going to work. And if that's a sharpening choil, then it's a big-ass sharpening choil. It doesn't need to be that big. So that, to me, is definitely a negative. But that's kind of about it, and that's a pretty minimal piece to it. Now, as far as the positives, again, M390 is a fantastic steel. I love how this cuts. You know, it's decently thick blade stock, but it tapers down very nicely. This knife stabs phenomenally, it thrusts phenomenally, it cuts phenomenally. It's an absolutely amazing blade. Again, if you can find the group knife, this extra bit of texturing, it adds so much on top of just looking damn cool. So rather than say all the things I like about this knife, I'm going to say I literally like everything about this knife besides, again, this stabs me when I move in weird places. That's too small. Other than that, this knife is pretty much perfect. Now, with all that being said, my score for the Chaves 229 is going to be a 92.5. Now that is if you get the general 229. It's because you can't really see it in this one because it has this embellishing on it, but I have had an actual 229. The finish is grippy at first, but it gets really slick over time. So it's going to be a 92.5 for that. If you manage to get a hold of the Chaves group knife, it's going to be a 95. And that is because this laser engraving makes, you know, it just really locks in your hand. There's no slippage at all, even in hard use. Like it, you know, you can't pull this out. It just adds so much. It's such a small thing, but it really does add a tremendous amount to it. So again, regular production 229 is going to be a 92.5, which is still a fantastic score. Amazing knife. Very, very close to perfect. Now that's perfect for its price point, to be clear. I'm not comparing to things like a PM2 or a Manix 2 or whatever, but as far as what that price point is, that is absolutely fantastic. It's absolutely worth your money. If you can get a group knife, again, 95 even. It is a better knife than the standard 229. This laser engraving adds a healthy amount of grip. So that's going to be it for I can't talk. That's going to be it for today, folks. As always, I love you all very, very much. Thank you for your time, your likes, your subscribe, your support, your comments, your messages, everything. I appreciate all of our interactions. In the comment section, let me know what you think about Chaves knives, about Riot knives, which, if I'm not sure if I mentioned this or not, this is made by Riot. The whole Chinese manufacturer pieces. And the whole kind of mid-tech market just in general, you know, these are obviously full customs and now they're coming to market as high-end productions for a fraction of what they actually cost. What is your opinion on that? Comment below. Let me know. I definitely appreciate your time and your support, interest, and all that fun stuff. Now, please do me just as one personal favor, and please do the best you can to be a better person tomorrow than you are today. And I do promise you, you'll find your center in life. I'm going to go drink some tea, have some water, maybe eat something. I recorded 8 videos back to back, each of them around 20 minutes, without drinking anything. There is a desert in my throat, and it's not happy. So as always, I love you all, folks, and take care. Bye.